Joining us now is Tom Forte from D.A. Davidson, covers the stock, has a buy, $175 price target. Tom, what could this mean for that high margin services revenue that Apple gets from the App Store?
Yep. So when you think about the high margin revenue that really contributed to Apple's strong performance and multiple expansion, this is the latest in a series of bad news for Apple as it pertains to its commission rate for the App Store. And that could be really problematic for the stock. So this is definitely a challenge and something we're going to closely monitor to see the impact it could have both on its sales, profits, and multiple.
Does this come as a surprise to you? They've been facing a lot of antitrust pressures from the U.S., from Europe, around the App Store and this type of behavior.
Excellent question, and it really should come as a surprise to nobody. So if you look at Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google, this is something we wrote about in the white paper we just did, talking about antitrust, talking about regulation. There's 7 pieces of legislation currently under consideration in Congress. But for Apple, I mean, this is challenging. If you look at the 30% commission rate for the App Store, and you look at their fast-growing non-hardware services revenue, this really hits them where it hurts. But to your point, this should not come as a surprise. The antitrust regulatory environment is very challenging for big tech. There's some great examples of what's going on with the Chinese government and how that's having a negative impact on Alibaba, as an example.
Are there any positives, Tom, under the surface here for Apple?
Great question, Wilf, and the answer is yes. So if you think about the good news for Apple is that their core product, the most important from a sales and profitability standpoint, the iPhone, still is in the middle of a multi-year upgrade cycle to 5G. And if you think about this glass half full, to the extent that it maybe motivates more developers to have apps in their App Store because the economics are better, then that could be a silver lining in a dark cloud.
What do you do if you're one of these companies now that has been fighting Apple on the App Store and trying to ramp up the antitrust pressure? How much ammunition do you think those companies get? And would you buy some of their stocks on the back of it? Companies, Epic not public, but some of the others like Match Group who have wanted Apple to take away that 30% commission or force companies to use their in-app purchases.
Sure. So my colleague Franco Granda wrote about that. He covers the mobile gaming companies, and it's definitely a net positive for them. It really opens the door to better economics. So I think from an app developer standpoint, companies that are selling on Apple, either products or services, this is wonderful news for them.
Tom, just to round it off with a 3% or so decline for Apple, but if the chart's kind of interesting, the way it's pulled back off those recent highs, do you get concerned that people have kind of enjoyed their big run and taking profits now, and that this could be a while before they break into new highs, or are you very bullish?
Well, the good news again for Apple is this comes before next Tuesday when we anticipate the next lineup of iPhones to be announced. So I do think that from a stock standpoint, if they have impressive news next week, the stock could continue to be strong despite this, challenge.